All right, welcome to this explainer. Today we're tearing down what is easily, without a doubt, the hottest, most lucrative tech job on the market right now. We are talking about the forward deployed engineer. Now, if you've been keeping an eye on the tech landscape lately, you've probably seen this title popping up all over the place and kind of wondered, what does it actually take to get there? Well, you are exactly in the right place because we're going to map out the complete step-by-step roadmap to becoming a forward deployed engineer. So let's just dive right in. Look, right now, basically all the heavy hitters in cutting-edge software, we're talking absolute giants like Google, OpenAI, Palantir, Cognition, they're aggressively recruiting for this exact role. And the demand is so massive, so unprecedented, that the salaries they're offering will frankly make your current compensation package look like a rounding error. It's wild. Now, I know the second you hear that, your immediate thought is, okay, where do I sign up? How do I apply? But hold on a second. Before you start firing off those resumes, we need to get perfectly clear on what you're actually signing up for. So here's our roadmap for today. 1. The hottest job in tech. 2. Why this is absolutely not for freshers. 3. The 4 technical pillars you've got to master. 4. Exec-level soft skills. And finally, 5. Do you have the itch? Okay, kicking things off with Section 1, the hottest job in tech. What actually is an FDE? So the term forward actually comes straight from military lingo. It means you're stationed at the forward basis. Essentially, you are deployed behind enemy lines, right at the customer's location. Your entire mission is to make your company's product work absolutely flawlessly inside the customer's unique environment. Think about it like this. If American Express is rolling out OpenAI across their systems, OpenAI is going to send a forward deployed engineer to go sit directly with the MX team. That engineer's sole job is to make sure the AI seamlessly integrates into the bank's highly specific, highly secure, and honestly, probably very complicated workflows. But here's a kind of fascinating piece of context for you. This is not actually a brand new role. It's really an old role that's been resurrected into this powerful new avatar. Back in the 90s and early 2000s, companies like Tibco and IBM, they routinely sent their engineers out to client sites. Then, as software products and the whole service industry matured over the 2010s, that traditional deployed role kind of faded away. It dwindled. But today, the massive AI boom has literally forced companies to bring this role back from the dead. And honestly, it's more critical now than it ever was. So why now, right? Well, we can blame this entirely on AI. AI models like Claude or ChatGPT, yeah, they are incredibly powerful, but they don't generate trillions of dollars just by, renting out basic $20 monthly subscriptions. No way. The real money, that massive world-changing enterprise value, only happens when a model is actually adopted and deeply integrated into a major bank or global retailer or a huge manufacturer's daily workflow. AI models don't make the big bucks just sitting alone on a server somewhere. They make money through complex enterprise adoption. And the FTE, that is the exact person who makes that adoption a reality. Which brings us to Section 2, not for freshers. Experience is mandatory. All right, I need to hit pause here and give you a bit of a harsh reality check. This highly coveted, super lucrative role, it is absolutely 100% not for beginners. I mean, imagine you're deployed all alone inside some massive, bureaucratic global bank. A senior architect hands you a workflow they just designed and says, here, implement this. You need the experience to instantly look at that and recognize exactly where it's going to break. And more importantly, you need the sheer confidence to stand up, look that senior architect in the eye, and tell them they're wrong. You only get that kind of confidence if you've seen, 50 or 100 of these workflows crash and burn before. That intuition, you can't just buy that with a quick online certificate. It is forged through years and years in the trenches. To put it into perspective, an FDE is essentially 3 incredibly demanding roles just mashed into a single person. First off, you're doing consulting. You're figuring out exactly where this AI model actually fits into their grand business strategy. Second, you're doing product work. You're completely remolding and reimagining the customer's workflow so it can actually take advantage of the AI. And third, you're doing pure, hard engineering. You are physically building the custom application around that model to make the whole shebang function. Because you're juggling all of these different hats at once, one of the absolute hardest parts of the job is a skill we call context extraction. This is your ability to navigate these crazy, complex political landscapes at the client site. You're deciphering totally half-written, outdated documentation, and you're uncovering hidden leadership agendas, all just to figure out what the true problem statement actually is. You have to extract the real context from a mountain of noise. And again, by design, a fresher simply wouldn't have a clue how to navigate that kind of corporate maze. Moving on to section 3, the 4 technical pillars, the skills you need. So, there are 4 necessary technical layers you absolutely must master here. 1, full stack engineering. 2, DevOps engineering. 3, site reliability engineering, or SRE. And 4, AI fluency. Now, take a step back for a second and just look at this list. Under normal circumstances, literally any one of these 4 steps is a full-blown, lifelong career for a single person. I mean, people spend their entire lives mastering just DevOps. But as an FDE, you're expected to be proficient across all 4? That is a ton of technical magic required in just one human being, which honestly is exactly why it pays the big bucks. Let's break down those first 3 pillars real quick. You need full stack skills. Front-end, back-end, databases, APIs. Because look, when a customer needs an integration wired up by Friday, you can't just throw your hands up and say, oh, sorry, that's not my department. No, you have to know how the plumbing works. Then comes DevOps. You've got to understand CI/CD pipelines, cloud infrastructure as code, release management. And for the SRE pillar, you need to know Unix. Actually, scratch that. You must know Unix because 80% of the world still runs on it, along with heavy shell scripting and observability. And observability is absolutely crucial here. It's the critical art of separating actual meaningful signal from completely useless noise in a chaotic system. And then we hit the 4th pillar, AI fluency. Now, this goes way, way beyond basic prompt engineering. You need to deeply, fundamentally understand the models. You need to know how to place strict guardrails around them, and you need to grasp model explainability. On top of that, you've got to understand fine-tuning, model routing, token optimization, and FinOps. FinOps is huge, meaning you have to ensure the AI doesn't just go rogue, max out a billion tokens, and literally bankrupt the client with cloud compute costs. You're optimizing both the brain power of the model and the financial cost to run it. All right, section 4, exec-level soft skills, beyond the code. Now, if that massive technical stack didn't scare you off, this non-technical section just might. Because being a coding genius, it's just not enough when you're deployed behind enemy lines. First up on the soft skills front is exec-level communication. And this is very, very different from standard communication. Standard communication is kind of what we're doing right now, right? Expressing thoughts clearly, speaking confidently. But exec-level communication is a whole different beast. A C-suite executive has, at best, maybe a 2-minute attention span before they completely lose track of what you're saying. Your job is to take a massive, incredibly complex architectural discussion and condense it into a 30-second conclusion. Then you give 30 seconds of next steps. That leaves exactly 1 minute to secure a firm, final direction from that executive. It is rapid fire. Which leads us perfectly into a highly specific presentation skill known as precision. Now, this is the super rare ability to put your ideas onto exactly 2 crisp, incredibly concise slides. That's it. No wordy Word documents, no getting bogged down in completely unnecessary technical weeds. You take those 2 slides to an executive and you say, look, this is what I want to do. This is the one single decision I need from you today. And these are the 3 factors to consider. What's the call? It is ruthless, hyper-efficient communication designed to force a decision right then and there. Beyond just communicating, there are 3 more critical soft skills you're going to need. First, you've got to be able to re-engineer 20-year-old clunky manual workflows and totally reimagine them as sleek, AI-driven agentic flows. This takes endless whiteboarding and bouncing ideas around. Next, you've got to check your ego at the door. You are going to have major differences of opinion with the customer's legacy architects. It's inevitable. But you have to prioritize collaboration and the success of the overall transformation over simply being right. Finally, you have to handle intense pressure and, frankly, demanding, sometimes angry stakeholders. And I'll just be candid with you, the only way you actually learn how to handle these stakeholders correctly is by making mistakes, totally botching meetings a bunch of times, and just learning the hard way. Which brings us to our final part, section 5. Do you have the itch? A critical assessment. At this point, you really have to ask yourself a pretty confronting question. Do you actually have enough technical depth across all 4 of those areas? Full stack, DevOps, site reliability, and AI? Remember the sheer amount of technical magic we talked about that's required to embody all 4 pillars inside one single person? You've got to take a brutally honest look in the mirror regarding your current capabilities and acknowledge the massive, massive learning curve that's ahead of you. And the second question is honestly even more demanding. Can you execute all of these hard skills and all of these soft skills while sitting completely isolated in a foreign customer environment? You won't have your comfortable home team to Slack 100 times a day. You won't have your own company's infrastructure immediately backing you up when things break. You are deployed alone. You are managing the project, the tech stack, the moody executives, and the corporate politics entirely by yourself, under immense, ticking clock pressure. Ultimately, getting through all of this boils down to one defining characteristic. It's something called the kita, which roughly translates to the itch. It is this relentless, completely unteachable inner drive that's required to master multiple, wildly different disciplines and actually thrive under isolated pressure. Look, even if this role dilutes a bit in the future, maybe companies start sending teams of 2 instead of deploying just one person alone, the core requirement is going to remain exactly the same. If this is the kind of transformative, high-stakes work that your inner drive just craves, you'll figure the rest out. But the real question you have to leave with today is this: do you have the itch? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you. Share and subscribe to Learn AI for more AI insights.